Welcome on in for today's video where I'd like to recap the 2020 Democratic nominee Twitter poll results that we put together here for December of 2018. This poll actually went a bit viral. We got over 8,000 votes cast. So first I'm going to go over the Twitter poll results, do a bit of a discussion, and then after that, I'm going to be touching on the top Twitter and YouTube comments before we wrap things up. So first, I'd like to say thank you to all of the 8,503 people who voted in this poll between Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. And before diving into the results, I'd like to say that obviously this isn't a scientific poll, and it's going to be skewed more towards younger voters, millennials, and people that are active online. So we can maybe dissect a little bit between the results here, between that type of voting base. So starting off here at last place on the list, we have Elizabeth Warren coming in at just 5% of the vote. Now, in terms of the more progressive candidates on this list, between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, they're really battling for the same type of voter. And amongst the younger progressives who overwhelmingly know who Bernie Sanders is in comparison to Warren, I'm not overly surprised to see her finish in fourth place here at just 5%. So now moving over to third place, and it was actually extremely close pretty much throughout between third and second place. But to touch on third place here, we have Joe Biden coming in at 12% of the overall vote. And one thing that's really helping Joe Biden is his overall name recognition and the fact that he was vice president under a relatively popular Democratic president in Barack Obama. But what's hurting him, especially amongst a younger demographic of people who would vote on Twitter, is the fact that he's viewed as more of the establishment, a centrist type Democrat through his career. Doesn't necessarily brew up a lot of excitement amongst a younger voter base. So he's coming in at third place at 12%. In second place was just a hair past Joe Biden. Kamala Harris coming in at 13% of the vote in this unscientific Twitter poll. Now, again, a younger demographic of people participating here in this poll. I don't think it's necessarily a great sign for Harris that she's only getting 13% because she's the youngest person on this poll by quite a large margin, and she's going to have to do very well amongst millennials and those that are just a little bit older than the millennial generation if she's going to have success in going on to win a nomination. So I think what's hurting her still is relatively low status of name recognition, but that will improve as time goes on, and her poll numbers probably will as well. So now moving on to, unsurprisingly, first place on this poll, Bernie Sanders coming in at 70% of the vote, absolutely dominating this Twitter poll from start to finish. And again, I'm not overly surprised to see Bernie Sanders win this at the end of the day amongst millennial voters and active political participants on Twitter. But the fact that he was able to run away with this one so convincingly, I think is a pretty good sign for him that the online community, at least, is still very much behind him and his candidacy running into 2020. So now I want to take a look over at the top comments that we had on both YouTube and Twitter. Coming in as the fifth most liked comments in the YouTube comment section, we had actually a pretty similar take here from Jinyin. Beto is my pick, and David D'Amico saying, I only want Beto. The fourth most upvoted comment on YouTube, just somebody saying Ojeda needs to be in the primaries at least to stir things up, to attract even more media attention. He will not win, but strategically, he helps push the Democratic Party further left. In this case, that means unionist, pro-union, pro-labor, that faction of the party. In third with 11 upvotes from Lewis N., Bernie 2020, we're all feeling the burn. In second, with 13 upvotes from Chris Bennett, he says, I like all four candidates, but I'm a Vermonter, so I have to go Bernie, of course. And the top upvoted comment here with 19 likes from $1 Million Rabies. Interesting name there. It has Bernie Sanders greater than Elizabeth Warren, greater than Kamala Harris, greater than Joe Biden. So now I want to go over to the top Twitter comments. In fifth place with 16 hearts, we have No Really How Come saying, no neo-libs, I'll vote green if there's a neo-lib nominee. In fourth with 22 likes, we have CJ Whitmore who says, of the declared candidates, I'm supporting Richard Ojeda. If Sanders runs, I'll support him while hoping for Richard Ojeda to become VP. In third, with 27 likes, we have Trisky HD with a couple of ats and a hashtag, at Senator Sanders, at Bernie Sanders, hashtag Bernie 2020. In second, from FDR Acolyte, he says, I hope Bernie runs independent. He doesn't need the DNC corporation this time around. I don't care which special interest shill the Democrats nominate. And the most liked comments here with 43 likes, we have the real Nick Wiggy, who says it's Bernie or nobody. This was a really fun video to put together. I, again, thank you all who participated and decided to vote in my Twitter poll. You can follow my Twitter over at Politic Forecast if you're interested in participating in future polls that I put together. Consider subscribing for more, and I hope to see you guys back here for future videos.